third graders. Today we're getting ready to work on math lesson 18. So problem set 18 looks just like that. Um, and you are also going to need, besides your pencil, you will need some square tiles. So I don't know if you have colored tiles like this, or if you have some paper tiles like of cardstock or something like that, but you'll want some kind of tiles, whether paper or foam or plastic, where we can work to make some rectangles today. Okay. You will also need some centimeter grid paper that looks like that. Okay. So beside your problem set, you will need some square tiles and centimeter grid paper so we can work together on this lesson. It's actually kind of a fun one today where we're doing something a little bit different. Okay. Not that all math isn't fun, because of course it is. Okay. Um, so if we look, our I can statement for today says I can construct rectangles from a given number of unit squares and find the perimeter. So basically what that means is that they're telling us the area, that would be the given number of unit squares. They're telling us the area or how many squares we're going to be dealing with. And then we're going to construct different rectangles or squares that way. And then we're going to find the perimeter, the distance around the outside of those shapes that we create. Okay, ready? So if you're still gathering your materials, you can pause the video and gather everything that you need. Okay, I'm going to move our I can statement, and let's look at the directions. So the directions say to use unit squares to build as many rectangles as you can with an area of 24 square units. So an area of 24 square units. So you're going to want 24 of these tiles, okay? And worst case scenario, if you don't, then just follow along with me. I don't want you just to skip the lesson altogether if you don't have what you need. So if you have the tiles or squares or something, that's obviously would be the best for you to use with this lesson. But worst case scenario, if you don't have it, then just follow along with me, okay? Don't just skip it. Okay, but you want 24 of these. And then it says to shade in squares on your grid paper to represent each rectangle that you made with an area of 24 square units. And then it says to estimate to draw and label the side lengths of each rectangle you built in problem 1. Then find the perimeter of each rectangle. One rectangle is done for you. So first of all, what we're doing is we're making rectangles with an area of 24. So that means we're using all 24 of these tiles. They did one already for us, and that would be if they made one big long row of 24. So if you were to take all 24 of your squares and make one big long row, that's what they made right there. So it has one labeled on the side, and there's 24 across the top. When we find perimeter, we're looking at all four sides, right? So I would put the 1 there as well, and the 24 there as well. And they said P, capital P, which stands for perimeter, equals 24 units plus 1 unit plus 24 units plus 1 unit. So 24 plus 1 was 25. 24 plus 1 was 25. And when we add 25 plus 25, the perimeter of this big, long, skinny rectangle was 50 units. Okay? So let's make another one now. So we know that our total is 24. So we could also think to ourselves, what times what equals 24? What do we think? What can we multiply together to get 24? How about, can we do 3 times 8, right? So if I have 3 rows, and I put 8 in each row. So go ahead and build this right now. We haven't done this in a bit since we were working with area. So we're going to build 3 rows of 8 because 3 times 8 equals 24. Okay. Goodness, this takes a while, doesn't it? So the other thing that we can think to ourselves is keep thinking about all the different combinations as we're doing this that would give us 24. So a lot of times, if we start out with 3 times 8, and I'm almost done. How are you coming with yours? It's all going to show in here. Yeah. So if I have 3 rows of 8, it's not perfect, but pretty close. 3 rows of 8 gives me 24. So I could fill in here. I'm trying to move this without destroying the whole thing. I could fill in, I know that 3 times 8 equals 24, right? So we'll draw that on our grid paper in just a little bit. We'll have 3 rows with 8 in each row. As we're moving on though, I can also think to myself, is there anything that I could do 2 times something? Does 2 times anything equal 24? Let's see, if I take away this third row, I take away that third row, and then I just keep adding to these 2 rows here, I can kind of see if 2 times anything would equal 24. And I could also just count by 2s and see if I can get to 24, which I know I should be able to because 2 is an even number. Whoop, it's not really fitting in here, is it? Hopefully you're doing this on your own. So create 2 rows. And how many can you fit in each row till you get to 24? Because it does work. What did you get? Do you have 12 in each row? Yeah, 2 times 12 equals 24. 2 times 12 equals 24. Let's scooch it that way a little bit. There we go. So they already did 1 times 24 equals 24. We'll just add that here because I can show you kind of how to keep this organized. 1 times 24 equals 24. And then we did 3 times 8, but then we kind of paused and we went back and we said, is there 2 times anything that equals 24? We said 2 times 12 equals 24. 3 times 8 equals 24. And then we could think to ourselves, does 4 times anything equal 24? What do we think? Let's count by 4s till we get to 24, see if it works. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So 4 times 6 would work. So show that with your tile. So the 4s first. So that means that there's 4 rows of 6. There we go. So 4 rows of 6. And we don't need to kind of jumble it all up. We can kind of keep some of them together. Are you building this too? And if you always know if you need more time, then you can pause your video. Now we're going to be finding the perimeter, but we're kind of taking these apart as we go. But just to show you real quick, for example, if I wanted to find the perimeter of this shape, there is 6 on the top, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 on the bottom, right? So 6 plus 6 is 12. And then I look at my sides and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I said the top 6 plus 6 is 12. And then 4 plus 4 is 8. So 12 plus 8 would be 20. So the perimeter of this one would be 20 units, right? We'll work on that a little bit because we're going to transfer this information onto our centimeter grid paper, okay? But just to look at that. So let's look at our chart that we're creating. So we did 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Can we do 5 times anything and get to 24? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That doesn't work. Okay, so no 5s. The next one we have is 6. Well, we already used 6 right here, so we're not going to use that one. Okay, so the next one would be 7. Can I count by 7s to get to 24? Let's try it. 7, 14, 21, 28. We skipped right past 24. So no 7s. Next we have 8. We already used 8, right? 8 times 3, so we wouldn't write that again. And then we have 9. If we count by 9s, do we get to 24? 9, 18, 27, 36. Definitely not. We skipped right past it. Then we have 10s. Can we count by 10s to get to 24? Nope, because 10 is not a multiple of 24. How about 11s? 11 plus 11 is 22. So if we add another 11, that would be 33. So definitely not. And then we're at 12, which we already used. And 12, we wouldn't even go any further than that because 12 is half of 24, right? So these are all of our combinations right here. Okay, 1 times 12, 2 times 12, 1 times 24 equals 24, 2 times 12 equals 24, 3 times 8 equals 24, and 4 times 6 equals 24. So those are all of our different combinations, which we created with our tiles as well. So we want to take those now and put those on our centimeter grid paper. So you can kind of push your tiles off to the side and take your centimeter grid paper. And they already did 1 times 24, so we're not going to put that one on there. The next one we're going to do is 2 times 12. So you can put that, I would kind of start like at the top and maybe work your way down, and maybe use a colored pencil or a crayon, because a lot of times if we use pencil on the grid paper, it doesn't show up very well. Okay. So for 2 times 12, that means I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to go over 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And try to stay right on that grid paper. Down 2, and then over 12 again. Okay, and then I'm going to label my side length. So I know that this side length was 2. So that means this one was 2. And the top was 12. And then the bottom was 12, right? Okay, so if we to ask us to find the perimeter, estimate to draw and label the side lengths of each one that we built in problem 1, which we're doing on here, and then find the perimeter of each rectangle. So we'll do that. Let's kind of go back and forth. Okay, so this one, sorry boys and girls, I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this. We'll draw this next one, so kind of down, kind of make it look like it does there, right? We're estimating to draw it, so it doesn't have to be exactly correct, but pretty close. And we said these side lengths were 2 and 2, and the tops and bottoms were 12 and 12. So if we're to do perimeter for this one, we would say P equals 12 plus 12 plus 2 plus 2. Go ahead and pause your video and find what the perimeter of that would equal. How'd we do? So I'm thinking for this one, I would maybe do 12 plus 12, which is 24. And then if this is 24, then this would be 25, 26, 27, 28, right? 24 plus 4 would be 28. So the perimeter there would equal 28 units. We could actually, well, we'll just say units. I was going to say because it's on centimeter grid paper here, but it's not necessarily there. So we'll just stick with units since that's what they used. And then let's circle that one right there. So we already have the drawing. They did that one for us. We did that one. Now we'll put 3 times 8 on our grid paper. So let's look at our grid paper. And wherever you want to stick it. So I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. And then over 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And down 3. And then back across 8. So this is 3. This is 3. This is 8. And this is 8. So we can see that it got a little bit fatter there, right? This was 2 and this is 3. This was really long and it shortened up a little bit, but it got fatter, right? So then if we take that and we put it on our pink paper to kind of estimate to draw it, we can't make it too big because we got to squeeze it in, right? So we'll make it a little bit wider this way and then not quite as long that way, right? If you need more room, if you made your drawings a little bit bigger here, you could always just grab an extra piece of scrap paper or something. Okay, so if I look here, I had my side lengths of 3 and 3, and then my top and bottom were 8. So I'm going to fill those in there. actually did not give us very much room. So our perimeter, P equals, and you can write this any way you want to. I'm thinking that I'm going to do 3 plus 8 plus 3 plus 8. And the reason I did that was because 3 plus 8 is 11, right? And 3 plus 8 is 11. So when we add those two together, what do we get? 22. And we'll say 22 units. So the perimeter of this one right here is 22 units. We got a lot going on here, don't we? All right, let's try. So we did that one. We have one more to do. So I think we can squeeze it in 4 times 6. So on your grid paper, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and across 6. And we would label. So we've got 4, 4, 6, and 6. Go ahead and pause if you're still working on putting your rectangle on the grid paper. All right. And then if we look back here and we want to draw that one, so this one is a little fatter this way and definitely shorter across the top. So if I kind of use that to help me to see to draw it, so I can kind of make it look like it does. I'm going to come down. So it's definitely going to be, this is skinny, then this is a little fatter, and then this would be the fattest this way, right? But it would be the shortest this way across. So if I label, I've got 4, 4, 6, and 6. So then I'm ready to do my perimeter here. So I've got P equals, and here's what I'm going to do. And you can pause this if you want to do your own as well. I did 4 and 6 and 4 and 6. Why would I do that? Because I'm trying to make a 10, right? 4 plus 6 is 10. 4 plus 6 is 10. So that means that the perimeter equals, when I add 10 plus 10, I get 20. So 20 units. There we go. Alrighty. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and they did 1 for us. So then we have 2, 3, 4. So we played with our tiles first, and then we put these rectangles on our grid paper, and then we put them on our paper kind of by eyeballing it, by estimating it to make it look as close as possible. Okay. We're not going to write B, but we're just going to talk about it. So B says the areas of the rectangles in part A above are all the same. So these all had an area of 24. So we could actually put that like 24 square units. This one was also 24 square units. This one was 24 square units, right? So the area, they all had an area of 24 square units. But what do you notice about the perimeters? So they all had an area of 24, but the perimeter of this long and skinny one was 50. The perimeter of this one here was 28. The perimeter of this one for 3 times 8 was 22. And the perimeter of our last one with side lengths of 4 and 6 was 20. Okay, so were the perimeters the same? No. So area was the same, but the perimeters were different. Okay, good. So the longer and skinnier it is, it seems like, it has a bigger perimeter. So the longer and skinnier it is, it has a bigger perimeter. And as we kind of scale back a little bit each time, the perimeter goes down a bit. Okay, good. Go ahead and flip it over. So on the back, it says to use unit square tiles to build as many rectangles as you can with an area of 16 square units. Estimate to draw each rectangle below and then label the side length. So the first one could be 1 times 16. We won't use the tiles for this one. We'll just kind of work our way through. 1 times 16, which equals 16. And then we'll kind of go up by 1 here every time. We'll say 2. Is there 2 times anything that would equal 16? 2 times 8 would equal 16. Then think 3. So 1, 2, then 3 would be next. Does 3 times anything equal 16? And if you're not sure, just skip count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So no 3s. The next one would be 4. So let's skip count by 4 to see if we get to 16. 4, 8, 12, 16. Yes, right? So it would be 4 times 4, which equals 16. Does 5 times anything equal 16? Does 6 times anything equal 16? 6, 12, 18. Nope. Does 7 times anything equal 16? 7, 14, 21. 8 times anything? Yes, and now we're back here. So we've kind of gone full circle there, right? So if the next thing it asks us to do is estimate to draw the rectangles. So we're going to draw each of these rectangles. So if it's 1 times 16, that's going to be long and skinny, right? So 1, 1, 16, 16, because we're doing perimeter. So we want all 4 side lengths labeled, right? So because it does say to find the perimeter of each of the rectangles that we drew. So let's wait on that. Let's draw our rectangles first. Then we had 2 times 8 is 16. So this one will be a little bit wider, right? And it would be basically half as long, right? Because if it's 8 is half of 16, so it would be double this width here, but then it would be half as long. So we would have it that long. And our side lengths would be 2 and 2, right? And then 8 and 8. And then our last one is 4 times 4. So that means all side lengths are the same, right? So we can just kind of eyeball it. So this is going to be the fattest, but it's going to be the shortest. We want all side lengths to look the same. And label it 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay? So the perimeters of the rectangles, let's label this. This will be A, and this will be B, and this will be C. So for A, we would have P equals, how you want to do it, 16 plus 1 plus 1. And then you could do B and C as well and find your perimeters of each one. So I want you to pause your video, boys and girls, and I want you to find the perimeter of these 3 for me, okay? And you can unpause when you're ready. Okay, so let's see how we did here. So we have 16 plus 16. You could do mental math if you feel comfortable. If not, obviously write it down. 16 plus 16. 6 plus 6 is 12. 2 carry the 1. 1, 2, 3. So this equals 32, 33, 34. So this perimeter equals 34 units. So A is 34 units. How'd you do? Did you get that correct? B, we have, I'm going to do this one, 2 plus 8 plus 2 plus 8. And I did that because 2 plus 8 equals 10. Did you do that too? Did you group your numbers that way? 2 plus 8 equals 10. And when I add those together, I forgot to put P equals, 10 plus 10 equals 20. Did you get 20 units for B? Good. And if not, just check your work. And then for C, P equals, all of these side lengths are the same, so I could actually do 4 times 4 for this one. So 4 times 4 equals 16. Thank you. How'd you do with that one? Did you get that one correct? Good. So 16, don't forget your label, which is units. So 16 units there. All righty. If we look at B, it says, what is the perimeter of the square, and explain how you found your answer. We're not going to write, but we already said that the perimeter of the square is 16 units, and we found our answer. You could do 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, but we could also do 4 times 4 there because all side lengths are the same. Okay, we are going to cross off number 3 because we have worked super hard today on finding perimeter and area. We kind of combined both concepts today. So you did super math work today, and I will see you tomorrow.